Congratulations on being elected as a councillor and welcome to Boston Borough Council. This short video will give you an introduction to our council and some information to help you get started in your role. For many of you, this will be your first time in elected office, and this honour will give you a completely new perspective on how vital councils are in improving the lives of those in our communities. You may already be aware that local government is facing unprecedented challenges. There is less money available to us, but demands for services that our residents rely on are increasing. Despite this, it's also an exciting time to play your part in local government and help make a difference to your communities. As elected representatives on the front line, you will be accountable to residents who rely on the many statutory duties and responsibilities that district and borough councils provide. The day-to-day life of a citizen is directly impacted by what you can achieve as councillors. The council will touch the lives of our residents in many different ways, from supporting them with housing benefits and applications for social housing, considering applications for certain licences or planning matters, to environmental services carrying out relevant inspections, making sure the premises your lunch is prepared in are safe and meet hygiene standards. As a democratically elected local representative, you have a unique and privileged position and the potential to make a real difference to people's lives. However, being a councillor is hard work. Every day you will be expected to balance the needs of your local area, your residents and voters, community groups, local businesses, your political party, if you belong to one, and the council. All will make legitimate demands on your time, on top of your personal commitments to family, friends and workplace. As a councillor, you will have many different roles to balance. As the locally elected representative, you will engage with residents and groups on a wide range of different issues and take on an important community leadership role. At the council, you will contribute to the development of policies and strategies, including budget setting, and you may be involved in scrutinising council decisions or taking decisions on planning or licensing applications. A councillor's primary role is to represent their ward and the people who live in it. Councillors provide a bridge between the community and the council. As well as being an advocate for your local residents and signposting them to the right people at the council and possibly other agencies, you will need to keep them informed about the issues that affect them. In order to understand and represent local views and priorities, you need to build strong relationships and encourage local people to make their views known and engage with you and the council. Good communication and engagement is central to being an effective councillor. As a councillor, your residents will expect you to respond to their queries and investigate their concerns, communicate council decisions that affect them, know your patch and be aware of any problems, know and work with representatives of local organisations, interest groups and businesses, represent their views at council meetings, and lead local campaigns on their behalf. Councils are not just service providers, they also act as regulators. As a councillor, you may be appointed to sit on the planning or regulatory committee, considering issues such as planning applications and licences for pubs and restaurants, and ensuring that businesses comply with the law. In these roles, you will be required to act independently and not be subject to the group or party whip. You will receive further training for these responsibilities. As a councillor, you will be required to adhere to the council's agreed code of conduct for elected members. Each council adopts its own code and allocated protocols. Again, there will be further training for you on this subject. Councils work with local people and partners, such as local businesses and other organisations, to agree and deliver on local priorities. They provide a wide range of services, either directly, in partnership with others, or by commissioning them from a third party. Councils provide many services to local communities. Most are mandatory, which means by law the council must do them. Some mandatory functions are tightly controlled by central government and legislation, resulting in a similar level of service across the country. Other services are discretionary. The council has discretion over the type and level of service it provides. These range from large economic regeneration projects to heritage services such as the Guildhall Museum. Councils have allowed to charge for some discretionary services, such as leisure facilities, for a long time. They now have a general power to charge for discretionary services, provided it is not prohibited by other legislation and the council does not make a profit. Boston is part of a three-tier area: county, district, or borough and parish. In Lincolnshire, there are 7 district or borough councils, the county council, and parish or town councils. Each layer of councils has a different set of responsibilities. County councils provide services that cover the whole county, such as education, transport, minerals and waste planning, fire and public safety, social care, libraries, waste management, and trading standards. District councils, sometimes also called borough or city councils, are smaller and provide local services such as rubbish collection, recycling, leisure services such as swimming pools, play areas and open spaces, CCTV, council tax and business rates collection, local planning, building regulations, environmental health, licensing, and homeless advice. Here it is important to note that Boston does not own any social housing or what is known as housing stock. In Boston, this is run and managed by a number of registered social landlords who we work in partnership with. In Boston, the most local tier of government is a parish council. They maintain local amenities such as recreational areas, footpaths and cemeteries. The parish council is also consulted on highways and planning applications. Parish councils operate at a level below district or borough councils. Like you, parish councillors are elected and can help on a number of local issues such as providing allotments, bus shelters, community centres, play areas and play equipment, grants to help local organisations, and consultation on neighbourhood planning. A councillor may serve on one or more tiers of local government, so a county councillor may also be a borough or district councillor and a parish councillor. A council's paid employees are called officers. Unlike civil servants who work for the government, local government officers have a duty to support the whole council and not just the councillors with special areas of responsibility, known as the cabinet or portfolio holders. Officers must remain politically neutral. Very simply, councillors set the strategic direction and agree the policy framework of the council. Officers are responsible for providing professional advice, delivering the council's policies, and for the day-to-day operation of the organisation. Officers fall broadly into 2 main categories: frontline and support. Frontline officers deliver services to the public, for example, refuse collectors and ground staff. Support staff ensure that frontline services and the democratic process can operate smoothly, for example, through administrative, finance, legal, communications, and IT support. You may spend some of your time meeting with and discussing issues with senior officers. The most senior officer is the Chief Executive, also known as the Head of Paid Service. This is Phil Drury. Phil is supported by the corporate management team, who are Deputy Chief Executive and Monitoring Officer and Solicitor to the Council, Michelle Sachs. Chief Finance Officer, also known as the Section 151 Officer, Paul Julian. Head of Housing and Regulatory Services, Andy Fisher. Head of Corporate Services, Catherine Nundy. Head of Place, Phil Perry. And Head of Operations, Christian Allen. Boston Borough Council is a multi-million-pound organisation. Elected members and officers have the responsibility of overseeing the spending of around £9 million every year. We have approximately 300 employees and there are 30 elected members. We spend a significant proportion of our budget on staff and the remainder on purchasing goods and services. We deliver the majority of our services through our staff, such as refuse collectors, street cleaners, leisure attendants, and customer service advisors. Boston also has responsibilities as a port health authority due to the local port and also provides funding to the internal drainage boards. Boston also has BTAC, Boston Town Area Committee, which is a part of the Borough Council but has responsibility for the town wards in a similar way that parish councils have a responsibility for the parish wards. Decision making at the council is done on a number of different ways. In local authorities, they are made at different levels depending on the nature of the decision. The local authority will keep a record of what part of the council or which individuals have responsibility for particular types of decisions, or those relating to particular areas or functions. This is usually found in the council's constitution. For council officers, there is a scheme of delegation which sets out their areas of decision making. There are several types of decisions: those reserved to full council, executive, key, non-executive, and delegated decisions. Some decisions can only be made by the full council, such as amendments to the constitution and budget setting. Full council is the meeting of all councillors held every few months. Full council elects the leader of the council, takes decisions over the constitution and bylaws, decides the budget, appoints the chief officers, debates motions and decides council policy. There are statutory roles for a Section 151 officer, which is usually the authority's most senior finance officer, who has certain powers to ensure a balanced budget is passed, and a monitoring officer, usually a solicitor, to advise the council so it does not act unlawfully or in breach of statutory requirements. The Cabinet, which operates like a board of directors, is responsible for making other decisions, such as significant spending outside of the agreed budget or major issues which affect residents in more than one ward. The Cabinet is headed up by the leader of the council, usually the leader of the largest party or group at the council. The leader is joined by other councillors, known as Cabinet members. Individual councillors can be appointed to the position of Cabinet member by the leader. The Cabinet does not have to be politically proportionate. It can be made up entirely of councillors from the ruling party or parties. Key decisions are important to focus on. What is and is not a key decision will be defined in the council's constitution. Broadly speaking, they involve significant spending or cuts, are of great strategic importance, or will have a big impact on the community. Councillors serve on a number of committees with specific areas of responsibility, such as planning and licensing and scrutiny committees, which either scrutinise decisions that are being made or spend time identifying key issues and developing approaches to tackle these. The Audit and Governance Committee is responsible for ensuring the finances and governance of the council are effectively managed. The Standards Subcommittee is responsible for promoting high standards of ethics and conduct across the council. The induction programme over the coming weeks will help equip you for life as a councillor at Boston. It will take some time for newly elected councillors to familiarise themselves with the building, staff, services and their role, and the induction process will support you in this. If you need additional help in the meantime, please contact Lorraine Bush, the Democratic Services Manager, who will direct you to the right person. Thank you for listening today.